We're here today to announce the intention to do an initiative petition drive in the state of Oklahoma to pursue a $500 million bond issue to help fund storm shelters in our schools around the state. As everyone is aware, this past May, we saw tornadoes that ravaged parts of our state that affected many schools. And we want to try and work to help our schools prepare and have shelters in place with upcoming construction. To do this, they're going to have the funds available. They do not have access under the normal bonding through the local school districts. Many of our school districts in the state are at the cap for their capacity. So we feel that this is a state issue if they cannot meet those needs. We are wanting to propose a $500 million bond issue with that debt service to be funded by the current franchise tax, which has been reinstated because of the changes in the law because of the BAT recently. This money will more than fund the effort to pay for the debt service for that bond issue. The money will be run through the Office of Emergency Management as our intention. Let Albert Ashwood and his crew have the capacity and the ability to distribute that to the local school districts as the school districts make application. We feel the local school districts will understand their needs the best, so those school districts will draw up the plan with designers and architects, submit that to OEM, and hopefully leverage this money through that fund to match with FEMA dollars to hopefully get a 3-to-1 match. In essence, they could receive up to $2 billion with this funding. It will require a constitutional amendment. As the Constitution specifies, we cannot run a state bond to fund other governmental entities at a different level. So just to make it clear and concise, we're going to allow an exception in the Constitution, and we're going to need upwards of 160,000 signatures plus to make sure that we do get this constitutional change on the ballot. Once we do collect the signatures, we'll have 90 days. It will be up to the governor to designate the time for that election for the people to decide that.
My son was one of the 7 that was killed at Plaza Towers Elementary during the May 20th tornado. He was only 8 years old. He loved soccer, swimming, and Munster Jam truck shows. The last words we said to each other that morning as he went to school were, "I love you." Never did I know that that would be our last to each other. I have always thought kids were safer at school, but I'm here to assure you that they're not at this point. No parent should have to go through what us 7 families have faced in the past few months. We need shelters in every Oklahoma school. I am very honored and happy that a legislative has stepped up to help us to get our Oklahoma kids safe in schools. 7 kids have already paid the sacrifice because of no shelters in schools. I don't want any other parent to have to go through what I've had to go through. And I don't want no other parent to have to say their final goodbyes as they leave their kids for school. It's very, very important. And I miss this boy so very much. And I will do whatever I have to do to help get shelters in schools.
There were some folks from southern Florida that came here, and they asked the questions about why in Tornado Alley don't we have storm shelters for children in schools. Because those in Miami, Florida, know the hurricanes are coming every fall. They have hurricane-proofed many of their buildings. So why in Tornado Alley don't we have storm shelters to protect children during the school day? Every mother, every parent, every grandparent, every family and friend should expect their child to come back alive when you send them to school, regardless of the weather.
One reason we're here today is that after the Moore tornado, we get a lot of calls. Every time there's a tornado in the U.S., we get calls about how to put safe rooms in schools. And what we hear is disturbing because we always hear it's not affordable. You can't build them. Doesn't make sense. And that's the farthest from the truth that you can have. Safe rooms for schools are extremely affordable. They can be an everyday building. They can be a gymnasium. They can be a performing arts center. They can be a classroom. They don't have to be below ground. They can be facilities that are used every day. We hear costs out of Oklahoma that it's $250 a square foot and up to build a safe room. In reality, they're $130 to $160 a square foot. Not much more than a typical gymnasium project is to begin with. In 2015, the IBC building code is going to require safe rooms in schools. So we're not very far away from this being a requirement when new schools are built. So big thing we want to be down here is to kind of educate the educators on the truth behind safe rooms, that they are affordable facilities and that every school should have one, so we don't hear additional stories like Miss Davis. So we're thankful for Representative Dorman to start this steering committee to start educating everybody. And we've been working with them, and we'll be having some seminars throughout the state. We'll have the first one September 17th and 20th to start educating the educators on what a safe room really can be, so they can start planning with accurate information instead of all this misguided information that's been out there. And so we thank you for bringing us here to help the school districts and to basically get a safe room in every school that will be an affordable option for the schools to do this and a reality, so we don't have more Oklahomas anymore.
This is going to be modifications to building codes that are going to happen in 2015. This is in the final stages. We're expecting this to go through the final stages. As you can see from this map, changes are going to be required for future design that would require all schools in the future to be prepared with safe rooms. The elected officials have different approaches, and I hope we can come together with something like this and achieve some success in the very near future to make sure that we do make every school, every career tech, across the boards, wherever our students are going to be at, that we make sure that they're safe. This is like an insurance policy. You hope you never have to use it, but you're sure glad you have it when the worst happens.